Hello, it's Les here. Today I'm going to do something rather strange and review a product that's not in my possession. That's the Super Record 12-speed cassette. It's not in my possession because I haven't bought it, and I haven't bought it because there's 5 things or so, or even 6, that I don't like about it. So the first thing I don't like about the 12-speed record cassette is the price. And that's simple enough. The reason I don't like the price is because of the quality, what it's made of. So here where I am, it costs $480. That's maybe not the retail price, but that's the market price. And $480, okay, but the thing is, it's $480 for an all steel cassette. So that brings me to the second thing I don't like about it, and that is, yeah, it's not made of anything exotic. It's just full steel. So in the past, the Super Record cassettes have been made of titanium. The larger cogs have been titanium, and they've even had full titanium cassettes where pretty much all of the cogs except maybe the one are full titanium. And even in the 9-speed, they had even the smallest cogs were titanium. So now the Super Record cassette, there's nothing Super Record about it except the price. Okay, so the price, considering what it's made of, is a disappointment. And yeah, there's steel and then there's steel. There's good steel and normal crappy steel, but it's not made of like aging 350 steel, because if it was, they would have told you, right? So that's the second thing. It's not actually a half titanium cassette. And if you go on to some fairly big websites, they've basically listed that it does have titanium cogs, which is false advertising. I think Bike24 and BikeComponents.de say this, but it's not true. I don't even need to get the thing into my hot little hands to test it with a magnet, because I already know. I read the brochure, and so they're all steel. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is that they've kind of been a bit deceptive about the materials. For example, I think, well, here I'll show you my 11-speed cassette, and this is half titanium cogs, which are the bigger ones up here. You can see they're a different color, and then the smaller ones down here in this kind of silver grey, and this is more silver, this is more a grey color. So that's what a half cassette looks like. This cost me $330 roughly, and that's what it looks like. Now the thing with the Super Record 12-speed cassette is the smaller cogs, it looks like they have coated it in nickel plating, and the larger cogs in some sort of chrome plating. So it's made to look as though some of those bigger cassette cogs are titanium, but they're not. So that's the third thing I don't like about that. I think Campagnolo is being intentionally deceptive about it. They're trying to make it look like it's made of something better than it is. So the fourth thing I don't like about it is it's kind of a porky cassette. 266 grams for the smallest one, up to 280 plus for the bigger one. The reason is, I think, it's not just the extra cog, it's that it's all steel. Yeah, they've lightened it a bit with the manufacturing, but if they had have made it out of titanium or something good, it would have probably been a $900 cassette. So the way they've chosen to make it, it sort of precludes the good stuff, right? So they haven't. What I don't like about it is, as well, it's rather an ugly cassette. So what I like to see on the upper end cassettes is, holes and stuff drilled in them. You can see on this cassette, it's got holes. Overall, that makes it a bit lighter. They haven't done that on the Super Record cassette. They just haven't bothered to do it, right? So it's 266 grams. This cassette here, although it's 11-speed one, weighs about 200, right? So that is 60 plus grams more. What's 60 grams? 60 grams is one of these, a Wahoo Bolt, or this is 50 grams, the Garmin Radar. It's a fair bit extra, considering it's almost $500 for a cassette. It's quite heavy. So in the past, the 9-speed cassette in Campagnolo, I was looking that up, 155 grams, right? So they're getting heavier, right, is what I'm saying. So it's rather porky for the money. And I should also say that Dura-Ace manages to make a half titanium cassette, and their market price for their 12-speed titanium cassette, which is real, is $380. So it's actually less, and you're getting more. So that's the other reason not to buy it. The weight is, okay, you might argue, well, it's a bigger cassette, that's why it weighs more. But that brings me to the last point, that what I don't like about it is the gear ratios. And it's not so much that the gear ratios are bigger for mountain climbing, and they're getting bigger, 29 tooth, 32, 34. It's not that. It's that they've taken away all the other cassettes for people in flat countries, like here in Australia, or if you're in Holland, or if you're in Finland, right? So they have taken away the 21 tooth cassette. They have taken away, which was a very hard cassette to ride, I might add. I started out on that one. Then they've taken away the 23 tooth cassette, right? That was still pretty hard going. So okay, they've taken it away. They've taken away the 25 tooth cassette, and I'm thinking, all right. And they've even taken away the equivalent, which would be 26 or 27 tooth cassette. So I would have liked to see for example, 12 to 27 tooth cassette in 12 speed. That will give you a high enough top end, and if you have a 53 tooth chainring, for example, and then you don't give up the 18 tooth cog. And so I've noticed that a lot of modern cassettes now, well, all of them, you don't get the 11 tooth cog anymore. And you might say, well, why is that important? Well, that's important because, for me anyway, because those are the gears that if you live in a flat country, you'll be most likely to use, right? It's a bit like if you're into camera lenses or cameras, the 50mm lens is the most common one, and the ones at the other end, the super wide angle and the telephoto, you hardly use them. So the most useful gears are the ones in the middle of the cassette. So back in the day, before my time, if you look at the cassettes before, in the 70s and 80s, you could get, when it was 6-speed, now if you only have six cogs to choose from, what cogs are you going to put on there? You're going to put in there the most useful ones. So I was looking this up, and you could get, for example, a 6-speed cassette that's 13 to 18 tooth. So it includes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. They're the most popular, useful cogs for road riding, right? 13 to 18. So where has the 18 tooth cog gone all of a sudden? No one's including it anymore. All right, so that bugs me. And as I say, it's not that you have these giant dinner plate sized cassettes that bothers me. It's that they've taken away the other ones from us. I'm not telling you what to put on your bike. If you want to put in the big mountain bike looking cassettes, fine. But then like the 12 speed group then is dictating to me what I can and cannot have. I can't have a tight spaced cassette. So that's the problem with it for me. Now the reason is, they've hung the last sprocket over the edge so that it rides up near the spokes, so they can't actually make a tight cassette such as a 21 tooth cassette. I have tried it, and I've made in one of my other videos you'll see I've made a 12 to 27 tooth 12 speed cassette, and it works, but that's not for this video. But the thing is that I don't like the new ratios. That's the biggest deal breaker for me. Is it's not that it's not titanium, it's not the price, it's not even the weight, it's not that they don't drill little holes in the back, it's the gear ratios. So I kind of think, and it's crazy when you think about it, because actually the downhill SRAM cassette, the cheap one, which is like a 25 tooth cassette, that's a $34 cassette, and it weighs less than Super Record. Plus, it has a smaller cog on it. It has a 25 tooth. You are actually getting smaller gears on the downhill mountain bike cassette now than the super top end road group. And like their expensive SRAM downhill 7-speed cassette is 24 tooth. And now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, the smallest we're going to do on a road bike is 29 tooth. When I was a boy and I got my first mountain bike, it was 7-speed. I upgraded it pretty quick to 8-speed, and the cassette was, I still remember, it was like, I think it was 11 to 28. 11 to 28 tooth. And I thought, this is a pretty wide spread. The cassettes now are bigger than mountain bikes used to be. So I used to train in Tenerife, and I kind of think the limit for me for riding a cassette is Shimano's cassette, which was 1227 or 1227. That would be the biggest cassette I would want to mount on a bike. That was like, well, if you need a bigger cassette than that, you really need to have a triple chainring or smaller chainrings, or just go to a mountain bike. You can't use a road bike. I don't think it's right trying to fit people that are unfit on road bikes. I think I kind of like the idea that you have to be sort of semi in shape to even ride them. That's what I like. So on my bike, I've made up my own 27 tooth cassette. I'm not buying any of these modern cassettes. And I actually suggest to you that if you're looking at 12-speed Super Record or Record, whatever, have a think about just maybe it's better to actually go 11-speed, and there's a wider range of cogs at the tight end. You can get on this. This is the one that I'm using, which is a 1225, I believe, and it has the 18 tooth cog in it, and this is lighter and cheaper, right? So do you even need 12 speed? Well, I would only suggest to get the 12 speed if you're really mega unfit. And I think you have more, what I'm saying is 11 speed is lighter and cheaper and probably better, and you probably get more street cred as well with a smaller cassette on there. So I don't like I don't like these huge cassettes. I think it's gone ridiculous now. But as I say, it's not the huge cassettes, it's that the smaller ones have gone, and not just at one extreme end. Like, I could understand it if it was just no more 21 tooth cassettes, or even 23, but they have gotten rid of the 25 and the 27, you know. And I think when I used to rent out bikes in Tenerife, I'd rent out a few with a 25 cassette on there, and people started complaining, oh, it's too hard. And I ended up just thinking, well, a good ratio, if you're moderately fit, is say 12-27 with a compact crank. You know, if you need more than that, you're probably on the wrong style of bike. So I just think it's gone crazy with the gear ratios, but they've even taken off the 27 one now. And here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? You're actually losing an opportunity, because they could say, if they did this slightly differently, and it was possible to get the smaller cassettes on a free hub body with, you know, without hitting the spokes and all this sort of thing, the problem. They could actually sell you 2 cassettes. They could actually say, well, you could have a mountain range cassette and then a time trial cassette. And this is the thing what they could have done, and they could have sold you 2 cassettes. You know, so that for me was a missed opportunity. Well, for them, but for me, it looks like they missed an opportunity to sell you 2 cassettes, and even maybe even 2 derailleurs. You know, that's what I would have liked to see, is them. See, here's the thing, what there's a saying, try to please all and you shall please none. And that's, I think, what they've tried to do is tried to make a cassette. Yeah, they've tried to make a cassette for everything, for mountains and for flat. But for me, it's not as, the jumps on that cassette are going to be bigger than on this one, right? So it's not really, you know, a time trial cassette. They've tried to do these big fat ones, and people like me are not really happy about it, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the future. But probably, like, if you look at it, I've heard on the forums and things that about the mountain bikeification of road bikes, and it seems to be getting true, because there's now suspension on road bikes, and there's, you know, disc brakes on road bikes, and then they'll try to put one chainring on road bikes, and I don't like the direction it's going, you know. So that's pretty much my rant over. I didn't buy it. I won't be buying it. I don't recommend it. That's all I really have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye.